And welcome in, folks. Welcome to the Sunday Night Showdown Truck Series here at Dover International Speedway tonight. I am joined by Jacob Zala here in the booth. And Zala, they call it the Monster Mile, and boy, it's going to be a track to beat tonight.
Yeah, I agree, Oscar. The tire saving is going to be name of the game here at Dover Motor Speedway as these trucks roll off and get ready to get rolling here. Tire saving is going to be the biggest concern with the concrete and how hot the track temp is. So we'll see if these guys are going to be able to save tire very early on, or if some of these guys are going to burn off more tire than they can chew.
And we'll find that out. We'll see who the best at saving tire and being able to tame this track will be. Let's go ahead and go down our starting grid. Row number 1 will be Reese Schaefer and Reese Hamilton. So a Reese front row here. Row number 2 will be Justin Day and Austin Edstrom. Heading on back to row number 3, we'll have Jason Miz and Aaron Kay. Then heading back to row number 4, we'll have Justin Levine and Bryce Shoemaker to his outside. Row number 5, we will have Jordan Berry and Colby Jackson. Row number 6 will be Jim Foskett and Joseph Kazi. And then rounding out the field in row number 7 will be Derek Garrison and Keith Shoemaker. Go ahead and take a look at our race analysis here real quick. 175 laps, 178 miles. Stage 1, 85 laps. Then the final stage will be 90 laps. Pit road speed, 35 miles an hour. 4 tire sets behind the wall to change, and our fuel window is about 58 to 62 laps. So kind of an even split to the race here, Jacob, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely an even split. These guys are going to have to worry about a pit stop before the stage. One thing I want to mention too, Oscar, last week we talked about Reese Schaefer on the pole. He won the race, but there was a penalty that was given out at the end of the race, which we did not mention, obviously, because we were not broadcasting. So Reese Schaefer did not win last week. Now he has to look to Dover to try and win his way in. Derek Garrison ending up with the win. Now locked in. So good on him for finishing second there.
And it's good that you bring up that point because I kind of forgot about that. But either way, restarting off this week in a good position. We'll see what he can do here tonight. He's got a little bit of a hole to dig out of because of that pace truck on pit road into the restart zone. We're racing here from Dover Motor Speedway.
Reese Schaefer taking commanding lead down the back straightaway. Reese Hamilton falling in right behind him, and Austin Edstrom out there in third right now, doing a great job for him. Justin Day in fourth. A little bit of side-by-side with the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker and that was Aaron Kay. So Aaron Kay up in the 6th spot, doing pretty good so far.
And you'll see on the ticker here on your left-hand side, the guys in yellow are your playoff drivers. Some of them a little bit further back. Obviously, like we said, Derek Garrison with the win, as Aaron Kay had a little bit of a moment right there off of 4. But Garrison has that win and is safe in this round. So even though he's running a little bit further back right now, doesn't seem to really be any worries to his team right for the time being.
I think Garrison is kind of just sitting in the back trying to save tire. He doesn't need to push the issue. He's got the win. He's in to the championship round, so nothing for him to worry about there. As we look on, Austin Edstrom getting pressure behind him from Justin Day. Justin Day going to try and look to make a pass. At the moment, not going to happen, but Justin Day is getting up on him quick. As now Reese Hamilton tracks down Schaefer.
And 4 laps into this race, I mean, is pretty tame for the time being. A lot of these guys kind of figured out what they need to do at the start of this run in order to either save tire or just kind of make their tires last as long as they can. And I know a lot of guys probably don't have this track highlighted on their schedule, as it is a very difficult track, but if you're able to come out of here with a good points day, I mean, it's pretty much a win for you, especially if you're in that championship battle.
Yeah, you want to come up with all the points you can, especially at a track like this. This track is very loose. You're going to want to save tire. Again, we're going to talk about that all night long. So you're going to want to hang on to your truck here and get the best points possible. As Justin Levine is going to look to make a pass here on Jim Boskin. Side by side right now in the turns 1 and 2. Can he get it done? It looks like he will, and he will take the spot away from Boskin.
And we see this a lot, time and time again. Justin Levine likes to start a little bit further back, trying to get that hard charger award. Right now, he's up to the 10th position, and we're 8 laps into this race, so not entirely surprised to see him kind of start to move his way forward, but you know, at a place like this, you got to be careful with that. You don't want to burn up your tires too much, and I'm sure Justin Levine knows that. I mean, he's one of the top tier drivers in this league, and right now it looks to be just kind of setting a sort of pace-ish to where he can run these guys down, but also not obliterate his tires.
Yeah, and Justin, he's got a little bit of different things going on tonight. I do not believe he's using a wheel actually tonight, so he's going to try and save tire the best he can here and try and get the best positioning that he can with where he's at. I believe he's on vacation, so all the while he's doing pretty decent so far in the top 10. Jordan Berry right ahead of him.
Jordan Berry ahead of him, Joseph Kazi there as well. Then going up through to the guys up front, Austin Edstrom, Justin Day. Justin Day is right there on Edstrom's bumper, but Edstrom and Reese Hamilton have a pretty decent gap between those from second to third. So the top two pulling away for the time being, looking to have some good strong runs here early on in this first stage.
Edstrom not doing too bad here. It shows Landon Matherson. That is not Landon Matherson in the 87. That is Austin Edstrom doing a great job so far in third place. Jason Miz was right back on the back bumper of Justin Day there, trying to make a pass, but will he get it? He's going to try and do it here. He's going to go side by side in the turns 1 and 2. Miz and Justin Day. Can Miz make a pass? Day gonna have the run on the outside, and he's gonna get it for now.
Miz had a bit of a bobble right there off of 2, and that cost him that position, and now he's under fire from Bryce Shoemaker, who is on his bumper, then Aaron Kay right behind them as well. A little bit further back, looks like he may have had contact with the outside wall off of 4, and now Miz, almost around. Great save right there, but a scary moment for sure.
Yeah, that was a very scary moment for the 54 Bryce Shoemaker. You know, you're just trying to be patient, make your moves as best you can. You see a car almost spinning right in front of you, and that could have caused a lot of chaos, but able to get out of the way of Bryce Shoemaker, and now he's going to lose 2 spots. The 9 of Jason Miz going to lose 1 to Shoemaker. Going to battle with Aaron Kay, and I think Aaron Kay is going to have the spot. He will. So it looks like Miz is battling a looser truck here tonight.
And that's not necessarily a good feeling when you have to battle a loose truck, especially at a place like this early in the run. Those issues are probably going to continue to get worse, which is going to be bad for Jason Miz. I mean, you've seen him already have at least 2 to 3 slides here in these last couple of laps, and really what you need to do is, if you're in this 9 truck, is just be able to hang on to this thing until you're able to come down pit road and either get a set of tires or just kind of reset yourself, because the last thing you want to do is either receive damage from hitting the wall or causing a caution or just spinning out in general and losing that set of tires, because tires here, like we've talked about already, are very, very valuable and you don't want to have to waste a set of tires on anything out there.
Yeah, you want to keep your tires as good as they can be. You don't want to warm them up too much. You don't want to use them up too much, burn them up, because you're going to need them in a late run. We got 175 laps here at Dover, and these tires tick away quick. As the battle continues between Reese Schaefer and Reese Hamilton, we see them. They're kind of just saving tire out there. They're pulling away from third place Austin Edstrom, not really doing much here. Just trying to save tire as best they can up front.
These two looking good out front for the time being. Really don't have any pressure on themselves. Just trying to take down this first stage and then maybe make something happen, as Austin Edstrom back here in third position. And I think definitely also in that sort of rhythm to where he knows he doesn't need to necessarily push too hard, but he also doesn't want to lose track of those leaders who have continued to just kind of held that gap between him and them. And then further back, you have a decent amount of trucks led by Justin Day, then Shoemaker, Kay, Miz, and then Kazi as well. So you might see some guys in that pack try and make up some spots. I'd keep my eye on Joseph Kazi out of them if I was going to pick a driver. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to start moving up here and start to pick these guys off one by one in these next couple of laps.
Yeah, you know Joseph Kazi is hungry for a win. Hasn't quite gotten a win in these playoffs. He definitely needs one. So he's definitely going to look to find one in these races, these last two races we have at Dover and Talladega. Need a win. I mean, if not, he's still going to be able to point his way in, but it's going to take a win for him to win the championship.
And you talk about a track that is going to be wild from start to finish, and that's going to be Talladega. We talked about this round probably being the most difficult of them, consisting of Legacy Atlanta, Dover, and then Talladega next weekend. Just overall a hard group of tracks, one of them being really a wild card track to be exact. You never really know what's going to happen at a super speedway, and you don't want to have to rely on that sort of track to get in. You'd rather kind of work at it from last weekend this week, but if you do have to rely on it, you have to be pretty aggressive and have to be pretty smart heading into next week. So I think a lot of these guys are going to have their eyes aimed on getting here tonight.
Yeah, points are going to be the name of the game as we see a side-by-side battle between Aaron Kay and Jordan Berry. Aaron looking to gain another spot. He's going to have a hard battle, though, with Jordan Berry on the inside, side-by-side out of turn number 4. It's going to be Jordan Berry hanging on to that spot. So Jordan Berry continues to take on the 7th spot. And he'll keep trying to do what he's doing, have a good race here. Only lap 26 for these guys. Got a lot of racing left, and still a lot of tire to save.
And he saw Aaron Kay trying to utilize that high side-ish middle lane to high side lane. Didn't quite work out, as I think that was Miz may have hit the wall back there. And you'll probably see some guys try and use that a bit later. I just don't know if it's going to be worth it for right now. I don't think we got enough rubber put down on this track, and I think if you're going to be one of those drivers to wander up there, you need to be careful, because you don't want to burn up your tires trying to get that middle lane settled in. And a little bit of a bobble there again for Berry and Kay off of 4. So some of these guys having some handling issues as this race goes on. It's going to be in touch, especially with this cloud cover now. That's also going to be playing into a factor as to how these trucks handle.
Yeah, and Kazi got a little tight. Got right up on the door of the 54 Bryce Shoemaker. They're going to be side by side, almost put the 54 into the wall there. But he is fine, so we will continue. And Kazi will get that spot, but a little tight racing there for the 5th spot between Bryce Shoemaker and Joseph Kazi. Yeah,
that was as close as you could get. They were leaning on each other as and off of 4. You know, that's a danger zone at this track. That wall comes up so quick, and I don't know how they were able to make it through that corner without making any significant contact, but they did a heck of a good job at it, and now they're going to be able to continue on, and Kazi's going to move up another position. Shoemaker now under pressure from Jordan Berry.
Yeah, and Jordan Berry moving up, trying to move up into the 6th spot. Jordan Berry doing a great job tonight. He's not going to move up to the 6th spot. He's going to stay right behind Price for the moment, but doing a great job maintaining his position, as he had almost lost to Aaron K. Able to get by Aaron K. So now Aaron K is under attack from Derek Garrison. So Garrison looking to move up into the top 10. Here is now look to get that 8th spot, which he will do easily. So Garrison now trying to move up to get some more positions.
Justin Levine came down pit road, and like you said, probably just due to those not being on a proper rig tonight, which, you know, it's better to show up and try and gain some points than not show up at all. So props to Levine for being able to come out here and at least start the race. Obviously probably not going to be what he's going to want for a finish, but when we're in these playoffs, points matter.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of thinking he would do, especially I knew he was going on vacation. So I figured that Justin Levine would at least try and get some points. And here he is. He's 13 2 laps down, but hey, every point matters in the Showdown series. As we take a look on a battle between the 54 Bryce Shoemaker and Justin Day in the 24. Justin Day using that high side, not going to work for him. Now he's going to be under attack from Jordan Berry. I thought it was going to that way, as he's now going to hit the wall, and now Jordan Berry will gain the spot. Day's going to lose 2 spots, maybe 3 altogether.
Yeah, Justin Day lost a lot of position right there, just trying to make something work, and didn't have the speed that he needed there on that high side, and you saw him hit the wall there as well. So cost him at least 3, if not 4 spots. And now he's going to be back behind Garrison in 8th position. See if maybe he can try and figure it out and then try and go back around some of these guys. But I'm noticing a lot of these guys are starting to move up on this track as well.
Yeah, the rubber might be laying in to the track. Some of these guys moving to the higher line. Our leader, Reese Schaefer, has not. He's been using the bottom the whole time. So he's going to continue to do what he needs to do to try and get a win and lock himself in tonight. Again, not locked in after last week's win was encumbered. So he's going to look to win to lock himself into the championship round and defend this what would be 4th championship if he ended up winning it 4 in a row. But I know a lot of these guys are going to look to try and take that away from him here this season.
Right now, Reese looking strong out front. He's got just about a 1.5-second gap between him and 2nd place, Reese Hamilton. Reese Hamilton has held his own and been able to put a little bit of a gap between him and Edstrom in 3rd place. So the top 3 pretty much equaled out to about a 1.5 between each other, and then again you have to go back further to see the rest of the field back here. And Joseph Kazi able to get around, or able to continue to try and hunt down these 3 guys in front of him, as Justin Levine right there, he's coming out on fresher tires, so he's going to work himself around Kazi. And actually I think Austin Edstrom just came down pit road.
Yeah, I was going to say the fuel window is open here on lap 40, so we were going to see some guys maybe pit, and Austin Edstrom is going to take an early pit, take a really big gamble to try and get some stage points here. We'll see if any other drivers come down this early or they wait a little bit. I expect most of these drivers are going to wait until about lap 50, maybe around lap 60, but the fuel window is open, so these guys can pit anywhere between lap 40 and 60.
And I'm interested to see as well how these guys decided to play this strategy. We usually see a lot of, or at least a couple different strategies, and sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Usually we see guys a little bit further back play more strategy. We've seen some guys up front, they'll play strategy as well. So it'll be interesting to see, as now Austin Edstrom's going to work his way off of pit road. It'll be interesting to see when at least Schaefer and Hamilton decide to come down pit road. I'm pretty sure those two will probably pit together, and then Kazi there in third. He has the opportunity to come down pit road and try and shortcut these guys for those fresh tires, although we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, the shortcut strategy might work. We'll see if it does, but it might not. Reese Schaefer out to a commanding lead now, almost 2 seconds over Reese Hamilton. So put a nice gap on the field. Kazi up back there in third, and then Shoemaker in fourth. Shoemaker is in sixth. I don't know if he pitted or not, but Garrison takes that fourth spot and Barry in fifth. Rounding out your top five for the moment.
And we are getting more takers on pit road as Foskett, Justin Day, Aaron Kay, and yes, Bryce Shoemaker's on pit road as well. So pit stops beginning here now. Kind of expected around this area. We'll have to see what the 6 cars on track currently decide to do. Keith Shoemaker being the last one in that group, who's still out on track in this 88 Valvoline truck.
Yeah, and I want to Schaefer takes it out long here, because that's a strategy that he likes to do sometimes. Sometimes he likes to long pit, sometimes he likes to short pit. It all depends on his mindset. I think he's going to try and keep it out long. So we'll see when Reese Schaefer decides to come in. Hamilton's still about 2 seconds behind him, so these drivers opting to take a longer pit road option. Probably the best safe tires of the field.
And one thing that we should point out here is this pit road can be fairly difficult to get on. It's 35 miles an hour like we talked about in our race analysis, but to get onto pit road, it's at a pretty awkward, and you'll sometimes see guys not be able to slow down soon enough and have to go around. You also see guys maybe slide in a little too hot, trying to gain a little bit of ground. So a pit road like this, you got to be cautious, you got to be careful, and you got to be able to execute as good as you can to not get any penalties or have any mishaps on pit road.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of tumultuous things that you've got to go through to try and get down to pit road. I know Reese was talking to me earlier about watching people for speeding, so speeding could happen, especially with pit road speeding 35 miles an hour. You can see some of these guys try and gain an inch or two, trying to gain an inch or two on pit road and end up speeding. So that's one thing to watch out again for these drivers, and we'll see how they do here. There's still only 2 trucks that have not pitted yet. That would be the 17 of Reese Schaefer and the 4 of Reese Hamilton. So the 2 Reeses going out long here.
All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a side-by-side commercial break. You guys won't miss a thing, though, and we'll be back in just a moment. You're watching the Sunday Night Showdown Truck Series live from Dover Motor Speedway.
Great car, great team. Let's go execute. Our time. We know what we gotta do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down. The interjects are lit. Count out anybody who wants it the most.
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. What a victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag is going to end it. Does he have enough? A dominant performance.
Gonna stay down, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody pushing as hard as they can in one final shot.
Gotta earn this thing. Run here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500.
Start your engines!
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sunday Night Showdown Truck Series, racing from Dover Motor Speedway tonight. Green flag pit stops just wrapped up. You saw Derek Garrison, the last of the guys to come down pit road, make his service, and now that's going to cycle Reese Schaefer back out to the race lead, and we have a new second place driver of Bryce Shoemaker.
Yeah, Bryce doing well on the strategy there, able to make a good call, get second place from Reese Hamilton. We'll see if Reese Hamilton can rebound real quick here and take that spot away, as he is currently about ish seconds or so behind Bryce Shoemaker. So he's going to look to try and get that spot back with a hard charge here.
And look at 5th place, Zala. It seems like Levine has somehow found a way to make those strategy calls work for the time being, at least, and sitting pretty in 6th position. And then Austin Edstrom back to 7th. And then Garrison, who just pitted, obviously staying out the furthest. He's lost a bit of track time out there. He's in 10th position, 19 seconds behind the race leader. So he will have those fresher tires to close that gap between him and race leader Reese Schaefer, and at least the guys in front of him. But it's going to be an uphill battle for the end of this first stage, and we do have a few guys who are lapped down after that cycle of pit stops. Currently 3 drivers a lap down: Justin Day, Jason Miz, and Jordan Berry, all 1 lap down. Justin Day, the first driver, a 1 lap down, who would get the lucky dog if we do get a caution. So those drivers are going to be fighting for that position. It's about all the J's back there, Jacob.
Yeah, unfortunately for Jordan Berry, though, Reese Schaefer is right behind him, and he is threatening to go 2 laps down. So Jordan Berry missed the strategy call something happen. He is on the way to being 2 laps. Schaefer is down here into turns 4. So the battle of the J's might just be the battle of 2 J's there with Jason Miz.
It's hard to say. What do you?
Yeah, hard to. Too many J's out here tonight.
I fully agree. I was saying that rundown and I was getting confused myself, but you know, Reese Schaefer, he's coming up on lap traffic, and that's another topic to be something to watch out for tonight. Obviously, he's got a pretty significant lead between him and second place Bryce Shoemaker, but lap traffic can always play into how your truck handles, and some of these guys who might be trying to stay 1 lap down could also possibly try and battle Reese a little bit harder just to avoid going those 2 laps down, because going 2 laps down here can be very difficult to make up.
Yeah, especially if we don't get any cautions. And with 13 drivers in the field, I think cautions are going to be very limited here tonight. As we see Reese Schaefer trying to make a dive to the inside of Jordan Berry, but he also has the 9 of Jason Miz, almost using him as a pick. Now Jason Miz is going to go 2 laps down, so these 2 drivers are both going to be on the threat of 2 laps down. And like you said, it's going to be hard to make up at a track like this. This track is so fast. The cautions may be limited here tonight with the amount of drivers we have. It's going to be hard to get 2 laps back.
And another driver that's right ahead of these guys is Jim Foskett. So as Reese Schaefer continues to close down on the back end of this field, these drivers like Jordan Berry are just going to have a difficult time trying to hang on to the lead lap. And you see Schaefer take a look to the inside, now be able to clear Jordan Berry. So Berry now going to be 2 laps down as well. Then Foskett right ahead, he's in jeopardy of going 1 lap down. So a lot of these trucks gonna need something good to have happen here if they want to come out of here with a lead lap finish. And Keith Shoemaker, the next driver up ahead of Reese Schaefer, goes about half a straightaway ahead. He's gonna have to try and hang on to it for these next couple of laps before we get to the end of stage 1.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any pressure out back of that 17. He is all set in sails, going to win this stage. That's a caution happens in between. But these drivers doing everything they can to try and save tires. It's just Reese has been doing it better. Drivers so far anyway. There's still a lot of time left. Lap 71 to 175. So drivers landed easy early. Could have a chance here at the end.
And you talk about Reese being really good at saving tires, and this is something that he's really good at, especially at tracks like this, which are a little bit harder on your tires. Reese is able to find a way to somehow do a lot better of a job at making those tires last, no matter where he is out on track. He can be midfield in the pack. He can be behind in the back end of the field. Out front, he's able to make those tires stretch and make them use all of that tire he possibly. And that's something to watch out for in these playoffs. Reese has been known to be there, and so far this season he's been there. He just hasn't had the wins like he has the previous seasons leading up to now. But now that we're in these playoffs, I would say he's probably going to start to turn up the heat and put on a show and be more of a threat than these guys have probably wrote him off not to be so far.
Yeah, and one thing you're not used to seeing is that 19 truck going a lap down, and this is just going to be because of the setup that the 19 is on. He is not as fast as these drivers here tonight, but again, trying to make as much points up as possible. So Reese Schaefer going to go by Justin Levine, and there's only 7 trucks now on the lead lap from Schaefer to the 87 of Edstrom.
Yeah, 7 trucks on the lead lap. And then we have about 10 laps before we see the stage break. So some of these drivers just trying to make it until then, and Austin Edstrom in that 87 truck is the next driver who is in the hands of Reese Schaefer to go a lap down, although he is a fair bit ahead of Reese Schaefer. Schaefer still could potentially catch him, and then that would put 6 trucks a lap down. So pretty strong showing here by Schaefer so far to put a lot of these guys a lap down and continue to just really log laps at the pace that he's running and put a distance between him and the rest of the field.
Yeah, a great run for him tonight, and Edstrom making that early strategy call just did not seem to work out, as he hadn't gained any positions. I believe he was running 3rd at the time of pitting, and it just did not work at all. Down to 7, now on the verge of being a lap down almost. Still a little bit of time between him and Schaefer, but man, it's ever so close that he could be a lap down.
And we thought the strategy could work, and like you mentioned, doesn't seem to be working out for him right now, but I do like the strategy call to try and change it up, at least in this first stage. You know you have a caution here at the end of lap 85, so as long as you're able to hang on to the lead lap or at least be in lucky dog position, it'll somewhat work out for you. Obviously, you won't get positioning that you had, like you mentioned earlier, Jacob, where he was running in the top 3, but still overall, you know, you'd rather learn early than learn it late in this race and be in a worse position than you are now.
Yeah, we talk about Reese Schaefer having a good day. One guy who's had a great day so far is 54 Bryce Shoemaker. I want to take a little bit to give some props on him, doing really well, as you know, he didn't make the second round of the playoffs, and he was very, very distraught for that. And he is doing a great job at rebounding here at Dover Motor Speedway. 3rd spot right now. And who knows, you know, we're going to get this stage caution. Things may mix up, and anything can happen from here on out. So maybe Bryce can be in contention for a win here tonight. I know Reese has been the dominant car, but a caution does change a lot of things.
And I've been able to work with Bryce in the past off week, and we've been doing a whole lot of racing in that 54 truck. And you know, the thing that's been cool to see is he's done a lot of racing at Bristol in the Open Series, and being able to see him work on his long run speed and kind of manage those tires better has definitely shown and proved to be worth the practice so far. You know, like you said, running great so far in that 3rd position, definitely putting himself in contention to at least maybe knock on the door of Reese Schaefer, and we'll see what he can do throughout the rest of the evening. But right now, like you said, looking great, and that 54 machine doing what he needs to do.
Yeah, I agree, and we have lost Jason Miz, so now we are down to 12 drivers. So now we're down to 12 drivers, and we look for a battle between Derek Garrison and Joseph Causey here for the 4th spot. Garrison all over the back bumper. I don't think he's going to be able to get it done before the stage caution, though. No, he's not going to be able to get it done. Stage caution should be out now, if I'm not mistaken, or is it this time by? Next time by? I think it's next time by, so
should be in just a second.
Yeah, I was going to say, it should be pretty soon. Derek Garrison's going to try and make the pass on Joseph Causey. Oh, not going to do it, though.
Almost had it, just wasn't quite able to get it right there off of 4. Nice effort, though, by that 23 truck, and that could have been a heck of a pass if he was able to make it stick, but this tractor is so hard to pass at, and you see right there why. It's very difficult to get the power and the grip down, especially coming off of 4.
Yeah, it is so hard to put the power down with these trucks at this track with how slick it is. Putting the power down is almost non-existent. You kind of want to wait on the throttle because if you don't, it's going to be a mistake waiting to happen. You are going to damage your truck putting down the throttle too early.
Now, the driver's going to be able to make any sort of mental reset to be able to come down, take their tires and their fuel here. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of the field come down here. Lucky Dog should be going to, I believe, Keith Shoemaker, unless I'm reading it wrong. We'll get confirmation on that. But Reese Schaefer going to lead this field down pit road.
Yeah, and Reese Schaefer going to look to continue his dominating run here. He dominated the stage, leading every single lap, 1 to lap 86. So he's going to continue to try and finish this run here with a win. But it was very impressive to watch him dominate a run like that. He is going to win off pit road. So Reese Schaefer will be your leader off of pit road after the stage. I believe it'll be Reese Hamilton in second, if I am not mistaken. Yep, Reese Hamilton in second. And Bryce Shoemaker in third, Causey in fourth, Jim Foskett in fifth. That'll be your top 5 for the stage. Or for the restart. So we'll see what these guys can do here on said restart.
This will be a good restart for maybe some of these drivers now that they have learned what they can do and see the speed out of that 17 truck. Maybe try and adjust their line a bit better to be able to maintain a fairly smaller gap between them and the 17 truck. Although the 17 truck, like we said, having a dominating first stage. Now Reese Hamilton going to line up to his inside, so Schaefer picking the outside, Hamilton to the inside. Again, still the Reeses on the front row. And then Shoemaker back here choosing to line up behind Schaefer. This will be a good spot for Shoemaker to maybe try and use that high side a bit and maybe get second place away from Reese Hamilton, although it's going to be pretty hard to do since we haven't seen that middle lane really come into work yet.
Yeah, and the cool thing to watch is watching the track get darker, especially in turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4 as well, the track is getting darker. You can see that rubber starting to get put down by these trucks. So it's impressive to watch the track turn as we get ready to go racing here.
Getting ready to go racing once again from Dover into the restart zone. Schaefer's going to lead him off. Green flag in the air. A little bit of troubles there for Reese Hamilton on the inside lane. He's going to be in a dead even drag race with Bryce Shoemaker to his outside as they go through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, side by side down the back straightaway, Reese Hamilton, Bryce Shoemaker, and Joseph Causey now entering the mix, trying to put a little bit of pressure on these 2 trucks in front of them. Still side by side out of 4. Reese Hamilton a little loose. That's going to give Bryce the spot, and now Causey's going to enter the mix. He's going to go to the top side and try and take a spot away, another spot away from Hamilton.
And Hamilton just trying to hang on there. He's had a loose racetrack here these past 2 laps. Causey able to get around to the outside. Now Hamilton going to have Derek Garrison behind him, who has kind of moved himself up. Also had some pit stops go his way, so Garrison able to get regrouped here after that stage caution, and now a part of the top 5.
Yeah, it is very fascinating to watch these trucks go around the track at the speeds they go around here at Dover Motor Speedway. As Bryce Shoemaker is using that top side, he's trying to make a line, and there's a caution on the speedway. So that's going to change things up a little bit.
Looks like it has to do with Jordan Berry and maybe possibly Justin Day back there as well. So caution just a few laps after the restart at the end of the stage. This is going to be interesting. And I don't think they have enough laps on those tires to actually come down pit road, but you never know. A driver might try and get that 3-4 lap advantage. I'm not sure if they'll actually do it, but you could do it if you really wanted to. And you know, I'm a little surprised we actually got a caution. We've gone green so far, and it's been kind of all peace and quiet for the time being.
Yeah, you know the saying, cautions breed caution. So we got that stage caution, and then I really wasn't too surprised to see another caution. It was a little surprising, but you know, just hard racing at the back of the field, ending up causing that wreck, as we're going to see it here. 3 wide between Justin Levine, Jordan. Yeah, there was just not a lot of room left for those two trucks between the 7 and the 24. So hard racing at the back of the field, kind of causing that one.
Yeah, just not enough room there coming off of 4, and we talked about it early in this race at the beginning, and turn 4 is one to watch. I mean, coming off side by side, just 2 wide is hard enough, and trying to make it 3 wide, you can see what it results in. And Jordan Berry actually kind of caught air right there for a moment, thankfully able to stay planted on the ground, but him and Justin Day will have to come down pit road and get some of that damage fixed here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he lifted off the ground a tad bit there, so glad we didn't see a full flip of that 7 truck, but he'll go down, fix the damage, do what he's got to do to get that truck back out there, as I believe he is 1 lap down still, because he was part of the caution. Well, if you're Reese Schaefer, what line do you pick here?
Well, you saw it work out on the high side for him last time, so I'd probably go with that, but I'd watch Shoemaker to maybe follow up high as well, since he had a good restart up there, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. So Shoemaker, learning from the previous restart and going to try and duplicate that, maybe even potentially get the lead away from Schaefer here.
Yeah, we're going to see Causey on the inside of Schaefer and Garrison as well on the inside of Schaefer. So Garrison, again, already in to the next round. Garrison looking to maybe try and get another win to stop these guys from getting a win and getting themselves in. But it's going to be a great restart with a lot of talented trucks, a lot of talented drivers. And it'll be fascinating to watch these guys continue to battle throughout the rest of this race.
Pace truck going to be pulling off the track here in just a moment. And then we will get set and ready to go racing once again. Stars got the green flag in hand, heading into the restart zone. Schaefer's in control. Green flag once again. A good start by Schaefer. An even better start by Causey there on the inside. Might be able to clear Shoemaker. Yes, he will. So Shoemaker not able to make that high side work like he did last restart. He's going to have to slot into 3rd position and go back to work to try and get around Joseph Causey. And then the rest of the guys behind him, so far, single filed out for the time being.
Yeah, and if there's one guy that's going to win this race that isn't named Reese Schaefer, it'll be Joseph Causey, as we see a battle between Justin Levine and Austin Edstrom. No, it was Austin Edstrom. Now it's Jordan Berry. Jordan Berry looking to bounce back from that wreck that just happened prior to the restart, and he's going to take, I mean, you can't take a spot away from Justin because he is a lap down, but he's going to take at least some air from Justin.
Side by side for 2nd place there for just a second. Coming off of 2, that was Joseph Causey, who had pressure from Bryce Shoemaker on the inside. Bryce Shoemaker trying to get around Causey, although Causey's going to be a tough one to pass as he tries to look high, going into turns 1 and 2, trying to build up some momentum. We'll see if he can have anything off the exit of 2 here.
Yeah, and he's not going to have... Oh, he's got a big run down the back straightaway, down to the bottom side. Tried to get it to work. Did not. There was not enough room for those 2 trucks. So we will stay single file for now, but Bryce looking to get around the 3 truck of Joseph Causey. But now you've got to wonder, there's still about 74 laps to go in this race. With him trying to race this hard, his tires are going to be gone sooner rather than later. So if I'm Bryce, I would try and stay behind these guys and save some tire, but he wants to gain some spots here. He wants to go fight for that lead.
And I agree with you. You know, I mean, I like it, especially because Shoemaker's never really afraid to go out there and try and make something happen and just be a little bit different from these guys, trying to make him push a little bit harder maybe as well. But like you said, a lot of race left here, and you don't want to burn up those tires trying to make that high side work. And he's really the only one up there right now, and definitely putting a lot of wear on those tires. We'll see if maybe he can settle down and get into a rhythm, but you know, you've got 2 guys in front of you and you want the advantage to be yours. You know, you don't want them to have the advantage. So I like the aggression. You know, you just also got to be smart and don't want to burn up your stuff too early after this restart.
Yeah, well, one thing I'm noticing is Joseph Causey is right there behind Reese Schaefer. And it's going to be a great sight if Joseph Causey can get around Reese Schaefer. I know Schaefer wants to dominate this race and go win it, but Causey has been fast as of late. So the battle will continue between those 2 trucks, and Derek Garrison now closing in on the door of Bryce Shoemaker. As Bryce almost hit the wall there. But Derek Garrison looking to get that 3rd spot.
And we have Causey up front like this, and like you pointed out a moment ago, he has not let Schaefer out of reach and continuing to put some pressure on the back bumper of this 17 truck, maybe even closing down that gap just a bit right there through turns 1 and 2. We'll see what Joseph Causey can do as he works the little bit higher through 3 and 4, not really able to build that momentum going up. But he's still right there and still can pounce on Schaefer if Schaefer decides to slip up and make a mistake.
Yeah, these 4 trucks have been in a line since the restart. Nobody has left each other's back bumper. These guys are not pushing, are not saving tire at all. They are pushing the tire to the limit. And they are going to stay in a line for the moment. Who's going to save tire more though?
That's the biggest question. Who's going to be able to capitalize off of one another and be able to save that little bit, but also make the other trucks push harder? And honestly, if I'm going to go with anybody, I'm probably going to choose Derek Garrison back there in 4th position. He's just quietly been able to keep pace with these top 4. He hasn't really overused his truck or those tires quite yet. Just kind of been chilling in that 4th position, seeing what these guys in front of him are planning on doing, and looks to be sitting pretty for the time being, although Shoemaker having a little bit of a moment there. He's going to stall out and now face pressure from Derek Garrison heading into turns 1 and 2.
Side by side, Derek Garrison and Bryce Shoemaker. Off the corner, it's going to be Bryce Shoemaker who's going to keep the spot. That outside lane has been working in turns 1 and 2 to keep Bryce in front of Garrison. But how much longer can that work before your tires start to go away? As Derek Garrison settles in, tries to get back to the back bumper of Bryce Shoemaker and make a pass. Being very patient, Garrison is, so that is great to watch as we continue on.
And right in front of them, Joseph Causey has lost a bit of ground here to Reese Schaefer. So whether Causey has backed it down a little bit, I can't quite tell, or if maybe Schaefer is just starting to come into his own little part of the run to where he comes alive. Either way, those two have a pretty big difference from what it was a few laps ago.
Yeah, and it almost sounded to me like Kazi was using more tire there when we went into the cockpit cam. So it almost sounded like he pushed his tires enough where he now has to back her down and save a little bit, and Reese Schaefer just keeping it calm out front, not really pushing the tires too much, was able to get away, and here we are, Schaefer going back to that dominant stage of racing like he did before our first stage. Now going to start pulling away.
Shoemaker now under pressure again from Derek Garrison there, and Reese Hamilton rolling up on the back bumper of both those two drivers as well. You see Garrison look to the outside, trying to get around Shoemaker. Shoemaker giving plenty of room to Garrison, and now Garrison going to be able to take that third position away from Shoemaker. Shoemaker now going to have to defend off Reese Hamilton here for that fourth position, as Hamilton looking high, trying to make that middle lane work.
Yeah, and that battle between Garrison and Shoemaker did not help Garrison because it brought in Reese Hamilton, as Hamilton's going to be on the outside of Shoemaker, and he should be able to get the pass done here easily. And now Hamilton is going to look to track down Garrison. So that battle between the 54 and the 23 did not help at all whatsoever. Those two get away from the pack as Reese Hamilton is making a hard charge, and guess what? Bryce is under attack again. The 87 of Austin Edstrom now making his way, trying to get around Bryce, and he's going to do so very easily.
Austin Edstrom able to take that spot, but Bryce Shoemaker says, wait a minute. He's going to look to the inside and try and take that back away. Edstrom, though, has the momentum off at 4, and now he'll be able to fully clear Shoemaker, who Shoemaker now is under pressure from Jordan Berry. Even Berry is a lap down. He still is going to have to deal with that in front of him, and it looks to be like Shoemaker's not handling too good in this dirty air, and actually might be coming down pit road.
Going to make an stop. I mean, he was falling off like a rock there. So to make a pit stop here makes sense for him, as he will now try and make an early strategy call. And unfortunately for him, I don't know if that'll work out, but we will see in due time, as now we got a side-by-side battle between Kazi and Hamilton. All of a sudden, Derek Garrison's in second place. I think Joseph Kazi used his tire up. That's really what I think happened, and now Kazi, like we saw with Bryce Shoemaker, falling back, losing a ton of spots.
And we wondered what those tires on the 54 and the 3 would look like, who are definitely pushing a little bit harder than Schaefer and Garrison. And those two drivers falling back, a little bit of contact right there between Edstrom and Kazi down the front straightaway, and Garrison now, like you said, taking that second spot away. Reese Hamilton in third. Kazi falling back, and if I'm Joseph Kazi, you got to find a way to not lose a lot of time here now that these guys are passing you. You've lost toe to Reese Schaefer. You're now just over 4 seconds behind race leader, so losing a bunch of time there from that early decision of using up a bit more of tire.
That's going to be a sight to see as we continue on, if Kazi will pit early or not. Derek Garrison taking the second spot away now, though. Under pressure from Reese Hamilton. Hamilton hit the wall a little bit there, but he should be fine. But now he's going to try and look to drive away from that Ford truck. And Derek Garrison doing a great job here tonight. You know, he started in last place. You know, probably taking it easy, not really doing much. Doing a great job to get all the way up to second place in the Sunday Night Showdown series and get points where he needs them. As although realistically he doesn't need points. He's won, he's in. But great job from Derek Garrison here tonight.
A great job by Garrison is indeed, and I also want to give a prop to Reese Hamilton directly behind him. He's really come alive these past couple of laps and continuing to charge forward here and work through the field. Obviously, he's behind Derek Garrison currently, but he's been able to close that gap down from what it was a few laps ago.
Yes, he has. Hamilton as well doing a fantastic job saving those tires and making a run at it. As he was battling a loose truck earlier on in the stage, now able to again save those tires and try and get back up towards the front as he is third spot. Edstrom in fourth, doing a great job as well to rebound from that strategy call that did not work out for him, as he's going to make another early strategy call. Did he speed? He might have sped. Either he sped or that's going to cost him a lot of time.
That was a very aggressive pit road entry, and like you said, we're going to have to watch and see if he got any penalties from that. Definitely had a big slide there and a big moment in that 87 truck. So we'll keep you guys updated on any penalties from that pit stop. Right now, looking good so far. And I'm a little surprised by Bryce Shoemaker's strategy call. And then Austin Edstrom, I mean, it's a little early, but if you were to split this from the end of the first stage to the end of the race, I mean, it's about there.
No speeding for the 87 of Austin Edstrom, so great job getting it down to speed, but I want to see how much time he could have lost with that slide. Right in Schaefer's back door, so he might not have lost that much time. Again, you're always going to go 2 laps down here at Dover with how short the track. When you pit, you have to get 2 laps back in the matter of time.
And able to get at least one of those back right there, so he's going to have to get at least one more lap back. And if you're Reese Schaefer, this race is in your hands at this point. You've got a 3-second gap to second place Derek Garrison, and really thing that would maybe change the way this race is decided is maybe seeing a caution, which we could potentially see. I know when we get these green flag cycles of pit stop, that usually opens the door for a little bit of difficulties to either happen on pit road or out on the track. So you never know until these things are over.
Yeah, when the racing goes on, we still have a lot of laps to go, and again, there's still a lot of drivers out there that can make a mistake and cause a caution, which no one would want to see, but it can happen, as we saw with the 7 to 24 earlier on in this race of Jordan Berry and Justin Day. So anything can happen from lap 133 to lap 175. All as I know is that 17 truck wants to see the white flag on lap 175 to not have to worry about a caution. But still, we got some pit stop cycles left to go, as pit window is probably open now. I'm going to assume that pit window is open, as we saw Edstrom pit. But again, I imagine that some of these guys are going to go late.
So pit strategy, pit windows opening, guys coming down to take their what should be their final pit stop. We're going to go ahead and we'll take one more quick break, and then we'll go green to the very end. You're watching the Sunday Night Showdown Truck Series live from Dover Motor Speedway. I got to get another drink. That's only why I did that.
matter what happens. Good day to be in Victory Lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down. The after-chaser will count out anybody who wants it the most.
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. What a victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag is going to end it. Does he have enough? A dominant performance.
Say no, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody pushing as hard as they can. It one final shot.
Gotta earn this thing. Right here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sunday Night Showdown Truck Series racing from Dover Motor Speedway. Lap 143 out of 175. Pit stops still underway. Reese Schaefer now hitting pit road as the race leader. And that's gonna probably be the biggest one of them all. And it looks like he had no issues there coming onto pit road. So if you're the 17 team, you know, maybe taking a little bit easier since you have such a big gap, or at least had a big gap from first to second.
Well, I believe one guy stayed out, and that is 19 of Justin Levine. As I don't know if he made an early strategy or not, but Justin Levine is our leader for the moment. While Reese Schaefer gets pit service, now Reese is going to, I believe, Reese is already out of pit road? I am not, may not be correct. No, he just got out of pit road. So Reese is just now out of pit road. So Reese will look to try and take that lead back. I think he only lost one lap, so pit crew doing a great job there, getting the 17 truck out nice and fast as Justin Levine continues to lead.
And one driver that we should keep an eye on here is this 54 Bryce Shoemaker. Remember, he came down really early there after losing a lot of time there on track after pushing a bit harder on the initial start of the second stage, and right now looking pretty decent. I mean, we got to wait to see how things fully cycle out and see what Bryce's exact plan is, but not too bad for the time being as he's in second place.
Yeah, he's doing really well. The strategy working out for the moment for the 54 truck of Bryce Shoemaker. So we'll see how that continues to roll for him, as Reese Schaefer still has to get his lap back. So that's one guy to look out for. Justin Levine still our leader for the moment. Justin trying to keep his truck out there in the lead, but again, he will have to pit, I imagine, sometime here soon, as he did not pit there. I'm going to guess that he's going to have to pit sometime here soon.
Yeah, it's showing Levine is on a 61 lap stint right now, so he should have to pit here pretty soon. I guess within the next 5-ish, 10 laps, so I don't even think he can go 10 laps. I could be wrong. I'm just going off the information that I've shown, although if he did not take tires in that first or that second caution, then he probably could go about 10 laps. So I'd say about the next 10 laps we could see the 19 hit pit road within the next window, although he doesn't really have a whole lot to lose for the time being, so he could run this thing as long as he really could possibly go if he really wanted to.
Well, you see who's in the picture. The 17 truck of Reese Schaefer with 25 laps to go is in the picture. He's going to go to the bottom side, and he is going to easily make the pass on Justin Levine. So now Schaefer has to go all the way around again. He's got to pass 4 trucks to win this 25 laps to go.
And those 4 trucks being Edstrom, Garrison, Shoemaker, then obviously Levine, and those guys are actually close enough in front of him to where he might be able to see him here shortly, as they are going through turns 1 and 2, and then Schaefer is right there behind him, so he can definitely probably start to see those drivers out his windshield here.
You might want to get the Jaws theme music ready, because Reese is quick, and he is playing that Jaws theme song over the radio right now to these drivers, because he is on his way to try and get that win, as he is out of turn 2, right down the back straightaway, and he is just making time up effortlessly.
And it looks like Levine is on pit road, so that'll cycle the race lead to Derek Garrison, who's going to take over the top spot as they went around him, which then means that things are now currently updated timing, and you see Reese Schaefer there in 4th, 2 seconds behind current race leader Derek Garrison. And there's just a handful of trucks that's going to separate in between him, and Schaefer already catching these guys in front.
Yeah, he already went through Austin Edstrom. Now he's going to have to make a pass on Bryce Shoemaker, 3 wide into turn number 1 and 2. That's going to work it out, as now they're 3 wide again behind him. And Barry going to make it ever so close. Now all Reese Schaefer has to do is track down Derek Garrison, and I think he's going to get that done very quickly.
11 laps on Reese's tires compared to Garrison's 21 laps, so that will definitely be an advantage for this 17 truck. And with 20 laps to go, I mean, it should only take realistically probably about 4 or 5 laps for him to catch Garrison, but just like anything else, you probably don't want to burn up your tires too much in case we do see something happen out there on track. You never know, and obviously not getting the win last week, it would be such a statement to be able to come out here tonight and get the win and not have any sort of complications set for it. So Schaefer looking to come out on the top spot tonight without issue.
Yeah, and Reese Schaefer doing a great job of getting really quick to Derek Garrison, as he's right on the back bumper. He's going to go try and take that outside line. No, he's not. He's going to stay right behind him. Now he's going to go to the bottom side by side for the lead, and he should have this pass done. It might be a little hard for him. Garrison's going to make him work for it, and you know it, but he is going to take that spot away, and Reese Schaefer goes back to the lead at Dover Motor Speedway.
So Schaefer taking the point away once again with 17 laps to go. Garrison now getting set back to second. And we know that Garrison doesn't have the tire advantage. We know that Austin Edstrom doesn't have the tire advantage. So Reese Schaefer as long as he can bring it around in these 16 laps, should be able to come home with the victory. And he will have to deal with some lap traffic, but at this point in the race, I don't think lap traffic is going to be too much of a factor. You have guys that are either one lap down or multiple laps down in front, or just really trying to make it home and come out of here with a solid day. So Schaefer, although he will have some lap traffic, I don't think it'll actually play into anybody's hands behind him to try and gain any sort of advantage.
Yeah, and this is not something I thought I'd see tonight. You know, I was talking to Reese earlier again before this race, and you know, I told him that he loves Dover, and he said, yeah, Dover's a great track. This is not what I expected from the 17 truck tonight, to dominate a race like this. It's just outstanding, and what a run it has been for that 17 truck. But also for these other drivers, Derek Garrison in the 23 having a great solid run tonight. Won last week in Atlanta due to a penalty. Still up here in second place. And Austin Edstrom as well in third spot, doing a great job to maintain that spot, as Hamilton is not too far behind him. But I don't think we might see Hamilton try and go for a pass. And Reese, I can't remember if we talked to Reese last week, but Reese, if that's the case, Reese looking to make it another top 3.
Reese Hamilton, one of those drivers who was looking really good on the longer runs, now taking a look to the inside of Austin Edstrom for this third position. He's going to be able to clear him coming off of 2, and Edstrom now back to 4th, Hamilton up to 3rd. Now Hamilton going to try and chase down Derek Garrison, who is a little bit of a ways in front of him, but if we've seen it like he was earlier, he should be able to catch him here in these next 11 laps.
Yeah, still Hamilton was side by side with Foster there for just a second. But Hamilton doing a great job to continue another great run. So great job by Reese Hamilton. You know, he's been one of the sneaky guys in these playoffs. A guy who hasn't won much, but very, very consistent, is the Ford truck of Reese Hamilton. And Derek Garrison, also another driver who has done well in these playoffs. Again, got a win, so he will be fighting for a championship. One driver fighting for a championship, and we will see another, maybe, at the end of this race in the 17 truck of Reese Schaefer.
9 laps to go, coming to 8 laps to go this time by for Reese Schaefer, who's been the most dominant truck out here tonight, has yet to really be challenged, looking to put his name into the championship round. He's done exactly what he's needed to do all tonight, and really, like we said, unless we see some sort of caution that is a real game changer, I think Schaefer can go ahead and put his name down on tonight's race. But we still have 7 laps to go and 4-second lead over second place. It's gonna come down to the battle for this second place, I'd say.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle for second between Reese Hamilton and Derek Garrison, as Hamilton making up time very quickly. Hamilton on the better tire over Derek Garrison, so he's going to try and get to Garrison as fast as he can, hit the wall a little bit there. So maybe losing a little bit of time, but 6 laps to go. I don't think it'll do too much as he continues to put the pressure on the 23 of Garrison.
A little further back, Justin Levine getting around to Aaron Kay for the 7th position, and Justin Levine obviously not suited up for tonight's race as he usually would be, but still making the best out of what he can with tonight's race. And if he's able to come out of here in 7th, say that would be pretty much an equal to a win for him and that team.
am very impressed with the setup that he is on, how good he's doing. So props to him for continuing to run, even though he is away on vacation and still somehow able to run in the top 10. As 4 laps to go, these drivers hungry. Reese Hamilton, Derek Garrison. Garrison wants to finish second. Hamilton wants to finish second. Very hungry. As Garrison gets loose off the corner, and that's going to allow Hamilton to get up to him with that run.
Garrison with the bobble. Garrison trying to drive in deep. He's not going to be able to do it. Tries to protect side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Hamilton to the high side. Garrison on the low side trying to defend. But Hamilton with the momentum. Will he be able to make it stick off of 4 for the time being? Yes, it will be so. Move Hamilton up to second. Garrison back to third.
And we thought Hamilton would be able to finish second. Garrison was going to finish second, but Hamilton with a very hard charge through the field to get that second spot as white flag is out, and Reese Schaefer will take the white flag.
One more time around for Reese Schaefer. Pretty clear track in front and behind. He could coast from here until the start-finish line, but we know he won't do that because he gives 100% the whole way through. And coming off of 4, Reese Schaefer will see the checkered flag here at Dover Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and a very impressive run from this 17 truck to bounce back from a moving before the start-finish line penalty last week to now winning at Dover in dominating fashion. He is going to be one to watch for the championship race. For the championship again. Hey, he's looking to go undefeated. He's 3-0 in championships in the Sunday Night Showdown series, so a great win for him.
Looking good to go undefeated. Yes, he is, and this is definitely a statement win. Again, like we talk about after the disqualification for that last week. You know, it's off him. It might not have been the best thing to hear 2 weeks ago, but to come out here and be able to get the win, it's got to feel good. And now he's going to be able to burn it down on the front straightaway and celebrate. And I don't think he'll get this one taken away there.
Yeah, I don't think you can take this one away from him this time. You can try, Bryce, but it ain't gonna happen. a fascinating win for the 17 skin. It was a race that I would see out of him, but man, was it very impressive to watch.
And we'll be able to hear from Schaefer here in just a second. We'll give him a moment to get in the waiting room, and then we can hear from Schaefer and see what he has to say about tonight's dominating race.
Yeah, I'm sure
Reese Schaefer here celebrating out on track, and Reese, after getting the win taken away from Atlanta, being able to come and back it up with a dominating win tonight. What does that got to say about this 17 team?
Yeah, I was not expecting it, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, going back to last week, taking the win taken away from me really sucked. Though it was by far, it was 100% a correct call. What got me was when Colby was spinning tires, and I just naturally, instinctively didn't want to hit him. and I did like a little tug to the right, and it pushed me up to the high lane, and I totally wasn't even thinking about changing lanes. I was just focused on not hitting him because he was spinning and wrecking, and so I as soon as I saw the replay, I was like, my heart sank. I was like, oh my god, absolutely, I did. So coming here to Dover, I've had some pretty good races here in the past, and I've always enjoyed how tough it was. I did about 15-20 laps before the session started, and I noticed how the right rear was really wearing, and it was, even though there was some tire fall off, it was still pretty hard to pass. So I felt pretty confident kind of going in. If I had to stay out on 5-10 lap older tires, I think I could have fended people off. So I was pretty confident in case we had a green end of the race, the green light checkered or something. But I started out just kind of keeping pace. I know Hamilton was behind me, and I just kind of, I knew he was pretty quick. I could tell he was doing pretty solid here, and so I tried to maintain him best I could that first stint, and I was able to gain a couple, maybe 3 or 4 seconds by the end of it, but he was staying with me pretty good the whole time. And then we pitted and we came out, and I got some clean air with some newer tires and felt pretty good. Both when I pitted, the first tires were even on the right side, and about the entire night they were only about a 1% difference, so I felt really good the way I was wearing throughout the race. And we got to the stage there, we won that, and came down and pitted, and were able to lead some laps in. And I was really torn on lap 140 when Derek pitted early. I knew that was a really good strat to kind of force me into decision. I still felt that even though I would have to work my way around him and I would risk losing some laps, I still felt it was a better idea because he was staying with me pretty good, that if I had some fresh tires on him, that would really help me. So I tried to stay out. I think I stayed out maybe 12, 13 laps later than him, and came in, did a perfect pit stop, nailed that one, and when we came out, we were 7.9 back, and I was a little worried. And then about maybe 7-8 laps in, we were down to 2 or 3 seconds, and felt pretty good. And I was able to, Dirty Air blocked me pretty good, but the tires were just too much of a difference between them. And so we got around them with about 15 to go, and then of course we're doing the praying there's no caution, and luckily one didn't come out, and we were able to come out on top. So yeah, very executed very well this race in all phases, and just really proud of the consistency all race. I felt my tires saving and just my overall lap times were really good, and I just felt kind of had a couple spots that I was trying to aim for, both in all corners, and was hitting the marks pretty good. And luckily with the racing gods were on our side and be able to come home P1, so it was awesome.
And coming home P1 also locks you into the final round, going for the championship. So you have that going for you to go ahead and secure your spot in defending your title once again. How does that affect you for next week at Talladega? Does that allow you to maybe try and go out there and just win the race and be maybe more aggressive, or is this something to where maybe you try and help a teammate out and also to get locked into the final round?
Yeah, I would say the mindset coming into Talladega was don't have that be like the last points race to rely on, trying to lock myself in the final 4 if I was able to. So that's why I was really, last week I tried to lock myself in. Unfortunately, what happened, and then this week we had a great bounce back and we were able to lock ourselves in. That race is going to be so much fun. It always is a great turnout. But the same reason you love plate racing is the same reason you hate it, in the sense that you just don't know what's going to happen. And I absolutely love those tracks, and it's going to be so much fun. But me and you both know all it takes is one bad push, and you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it's the white flag, and your tire's bouncing down the track with you. So it doesn't take much to really have an upside down day, and especially because that being an elimination race, which was great design by the league, it's going to be really aggressive, and a lot of guys are going to be fighting it for their playoff lives, especially getting to the final 4. So I'm really looking forward to that race. I'm really excited for everything to happen, and I can't wait for Talladega. But yeah, I would say overall, just not having to worry about where I finish and how I finish is always a big relief, and we're able to get some points today and get the win and be able to walk into the Final Four, which is awesome.
All right, Schaefer, before I let you go and allow you to go celebrate your win, is there any sponsors you'd like to thank or any shouts you'd like to give?
Yeah, of course. I'd like to thank Mid-Michigan Milk Producers Association. There I was on the hood. I was racing the Got Milk Got Milk truck, and tributing my dad and Grandpa Jack. I always love doing that. And I want to thank all the One Sim guys and all the guys back at the race shop. I love racing those guys. They're really supportive, as always. And we were having a great time tonight, just joking and laughing and having a good time because Justin was on a controller, so that was an interesting one because he's on vacation and he still finished P7, which I don't know how he did it, which is amazing for him. And I would like to thank obviously the family and my dad, my girlfriend Emily, my grandpa, who always love tuning these streams when they get the chance and watch me race. And I just love the support I have through my family, my friends, and all my racing buddies. We are such a tight-knit group, and every week is just so much fun. And it doesn't matter if I finish last every race. I just want to have fun, and that's what we do. And that's all that matters. And I want to thank you, Oscar, and Jacob. Can't wait to watch the broadcast back. Hopefully, it was probably a little bit boring for you guys, but hopefully it went by quick, which one can hope for. So, yeah, man, hopefully, I'd be shocked if we're talking to you next week, just knowing how that track goes, but hopefully I am. So I can't wait for Talladega. This is going to be so much fun.
Alrighty, thank you, Schaefer, for taking a minute to speak with us.
Of course, guys. Thank you, Oscar. Have a good night, guys.
That was race winner Reese Schaefer. Always a pleasure to talk with him. And now we're going to go to Jacob Zala, who I believe is standing by with third place Derek Garrison.
Derek, yes, Oscar, I'm here with the third place finisher, Derek Garrison. And Derek, you know, you were gonna get second there, but Reese Hamilton ended up closing down on you and getting second place. You know, walk me through your race tonight, and you know you'd already gotten your win from Atlanta. Your Atlanta streak continues in Sunday Night Showdown series, but walk me through tonight and the struggles you kind of went through tonight.
Yeah, man, I just started at the tail end of the field. Just figure I'd come in here and just get a couple of laps. Try to figure the place out a little bit. I kind of liked Dover, a little bit different in the trucks. Yeah, throughout the night, dude, we found some speed and we drove through the field and just try to keep clean air on the nose, and track position was the name of the game tonight.
Yeah, and you did really well tonight. It looked like you were stronger in the middle stages. You know, what was working for you throughout your run? You went from the back to the front, to the back to the front. You did really well tonight.
Yeah, I think I was pretty good saving tires. Probably too good because I think I lost a lot of time saving my tires, but it just didn't work out in my favor tonight. Reese was just definitely on another level. I believe he could have probably lapped us twice if he really wanted to. But yeah, I just try to save tires as best as I could and keep clean air on the nose. But it just didn't happen tonight.
Yeah, and I would ask you if there's anything that you could take from Dover into Talladega next week, but I don't really think there's anything that you can take from Dover to Talladega. But how do you feel about Talladega, and where do you expect yourself to run at a big plate track like Talladega?
I really don't know. I plan on working with Bryce and all my other teammates, see if I can help them get a win before the season's over with. Because I'm locked in for the Final Four. Just definitely go out next week and have fun. Talladega is so unpredictable, so just show up and run fast as I can.
All right. Well, with that being said, before I let you go, is there anybody you would like to thank, any of your sponsors or anything like that?
Yeah, thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you for all the admins, all the viewers that watch us on YouTube. Thanks for all the competitors that come every week. And I hope everybody has a great night.
All right. Well, with that being said, that was third place finisher Derek Garrison, and I believe Oscar will take the other Reese Hamilton.
Yeah, I'm standing by with Reese Hamilton. Finished second on the race tonight, and looked like it was a pretty good night for you. You ran up front for a good portion of that race, and looked like you had a lot of long run speed, not necessarily a lot of short run speed, but these long runs you really came to life and were able to get those tires to last more than some of these other guys out there. Just what do you think you maybe need there to be able to hang with Schaefer?
At the beginning of the race, I went for like 20 laps or so, and then he just drove off from me, and made that green flag pit stop, and then ran to the end of the stage. And so the second stage, I was like, well, maybe I should back it up a little bit in the beginning of the runs and hopefully come back on him at the end. But I don't know, he was just too consistent over the course of the entire run. He was too far gone for the tires to matter. I don't even know if I was gaining on him, later in the run, but even if he was just too far away.
Yeah, and Schaefer definitely having a lot of speed in that race truck tonight, but still, I mean, it was a good night for you, and it's hard to come out of here happy, especially at a track like this, which is so difficult. But points wise, I mean, I think you got some valuable points for yourself, and I mean, we'd have to look. I'm not quite sure if you'd sit above it. I'm assuming you probably would sit above it, but I'm not positive.
I don't know. I know coming into this round that I felt like with Causey and Levine scoring so many playoff points that and Schaefer too, that after Garrison won it last week, I felt like he was the only one that I was gonna be able to point my way in over. And after he, advanced after that win, I don't think I'm able to point either Schaefer or after he just won. So it would be between Causey and Levine. So I feel like next week I'll either have to have something really go my way or just win the race outright to make it to the final round. So we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, you talk about next week being Talladega, and obviously that's going to be a wild race from start to finish. And do you have any game plan sort of there? Is it like win directed, or is it try and just gain as many positions and as many points as you possibly can, and hoping that these other guys have bad nights? I mean, what is your mindset going into that race?
Yeah, with the one fast repair, I usually kind of the mindset going into like Daytona earlier this year, and then Echo Park a couple weeks ago, is try to keep your fast repair until you get down to about 20 to go. I would say that way that kind of got a backup plan. If you waste it earlier on in the race, then you're really screwed at the end as far as being aggressive. So that would be my main game plan, I would say.
Alrighty, Reese Hamilton, before I let you go, is there any sponsors or shout you like to give or thank?
I just appreciate y'all with the broadcast. Y'all do a great job. I'll always watch them back, and I appreciate the league. Everybody raced really, really clean tonight, and it was a lot of fun. So I appreciate them, and we'll go on to Talladega and see what we can make shake.
Alrighty, Reese Hamilton, thank you for taking a minute to speak with us, and hopefully we can see you do good next week at Talladega.
Yeah, man, I love speaking to y'all. That means I did something good, so maybe we'll be doing it again next week.
I love that. Being able to speak with us equals something good. That's always, I mean, realistically, that is a good view to take on. Being able to speak with us, being able to come out of here with a top 3 finish is always good. And obviously, like you said, he's up against hard competition going into tonight, and points-wise, we obviously won't be able to know for a little bit longer what his point situation looks like, but it's going to be a wild week at Talladega next week, I think, Jacob. I think there's a lot of guys below the cut line that are going to try and race their way into that final round, but you also have a really stacked 4 that are currently locked in, being Garrison, Causey, or at least, well, not fully locked in, but above the cut line being Garrison, Causey, Levine, and Schaefer. So Garrison and Schaefer locking themselves in would mean Causey and Levine are the 2 ones that are in on points, but those 2 are heck of a bunch to try and pass at Super Speedway. So it's going to be really interesting heading to Talladega next week.
Yeah, well, I know with Justin Levine, he is again probably going to be on that not so good setup. So we'll see if he will continue to do pretty well, or if maybe he'll take a step back at Talladega. But with that being said, with these other guys, it is going to be a fun race to watch at Talladega. And I mean, you know how Talladega goes. It's a 50-50 chance. You know, it's luck based. It's a plate track. I mean, it's luck based. You know, it's going to be a fun race for us to cover, and it'll be a fun race for the drivers, I'm sure.
And we'll go ahead and take a look at our results here before we get too far ahead into next week's race. Let's see. Race winner Reese Schaefer, Reese Hamilton in second, Derek Garrison in third. Obviously, we heard from all three of those drivers just a moment ago. Austin Edstrom, Joseph Kazi rounding out the top five. Going into sixth, Bryce Shoemaker, Justin Levine, Aaron Kay, and then Keith Shoemaker and Jordan Berry, who are going to round out the top 10.
Yep, and then you got Justin Day in 11th with 1 lap down, Jim Foskett 2 laps down in 12th, Jason Miz 102 laps down in 13th, and Colby Jackson 176 laps down in 14th.
And Colby Jackson with those early issues obviously being the reason why he's so many laps down, which is unfortunate. But, I think we're going to see Colby Jackson have a great week probably next week. It's usually we see him up towards the front being pretty aggressive at each and every track, and I don't think that's going to change for Talladega at all.
No, I agree. I think we're going to see him make some aggressive moves, and we'll see if maybe he can try and get his way, lock himself in to the championship round. But if not, then unfortunately that'll be the end of his playoff run, and it sucks coming off the back of some issues that he had tonight. But that's just how it goes in racing, and you'll just move on to the next race.
And that it will be, it'll be interesting, like I said, to see some of these guys try and race their way in. And one driver who does a good job at that, obviously doesn't have to race his way in, but who did collect the hard charger is Derek Garrison. 13th to 3rd, so 10 positions gained on tonight's race. And 23.760 second lap time for his fastest lap, 151.1 miles an hour. So Garrison might not have won the race, but he did get the hard charger. And again, thank you to Raps by JB for allowing us to present this award each and every race to the highest hard charger. And make sure you reach out to them for custom goalie mask designs, but also paint schemes. iRacing, as they create beautiful paint schemes for whoever and whatever style you may want. Go ahead, hook them up. They represent week strong in the field here.
And it does. Well, Oscar, that is a wrap for Dover Speedway. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting race from start to finish, and I know a lot of people out there are probably like, what do you mean interesting? Well, there was some strategy calls there that worked out, some that didn't. Obviously, Reese Schaefer kind of set himself on cruise control for majority of the race, but I mean, if you look at some other strategy calls, Austin Edstrom finished 4th with a few different strategy calls that he made during the race that we didn't think were going to work out, but ended up finishing 4th. And then Shoemaker finishing 6th there as well with an interesting strategy call late in this race. So some of these strategy calls, maybe not winning them the race, but they were able to finish out with a decent finishing position, and all building up for next week from Talladega Super Speedway. Zala, it's going to be a chaotic and crazy one, and we can't mention that enough, but I'm excited. You're excited, I think, and I don't know if Dover is going to be the peak of the season, or at least of this round. I think Talladega might introduce some more craziness and more strategies.
Yeah, I am excited for Talladega. Don't get me wrong. I love Talladega. I'm actually going to Talladega for my very first time in October for the fall race, so I love Talladega. One of my favorite super speedways. I will be very excited to cover it with you next week in the broadcast booth, as I will be here now every week from here on out and into next season.
Which we're very excited to have you. And going into next season, it's just going to be a heck of a lot more fun. I think there's so many cool things that are going to be introduced here from Turn Sector Media to you guys, and a lot more on the horizon. So thank you guys for joining us in each and every weekend, the race Sunday here. And once again, I'm Oscar Jensen, joined by Jacob Zolli here in the booth. So we hope to see you guys next week at Talladega, and hope you guys have a good rest of your evening or morning or wherever it may be, and see you guys back next week.
Got a great car, great team. Let's go execute. Our time. We know what we gotta do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight till the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down. The after-checks are lit. Count out anybody. Who wants it the most?
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. What victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag is going to end it. Does he have enough? A dominant performance.
You gotta stay down, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody pushing as hard as they can get it. One final shot.
Gotta earn this thing. Right here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.